everybody. Welcome to Claudine's Clean Eating for Successful Women Entrepreneurs group. Today we are going to be making strawberry rhubarb crisp, and I'm so excited to share this recipe with you. This crisp is a conglomeration of multiple recipes that I've made over the years, and I love the combination of strawberry and rhubarb, especially in spring. So you know it's spring when the rhubarb and the strawberry are both available, which is so nice. And I have made multiple variations of this crisp, so you don't just have to use it with strawberry and rhubarb. You can use it with so many different fruits. Whatever fruit is in season. I've made it with peaches, I've made it with plums. Peaches and blueberries are a good combination. Nectarines and blackberries are a really good combination. You can just do one fruit, and I'm going to basically tell you my secrets to how I make it, and then you can make it your own. Also, this is going to be a crisp, but I also do a cobbler. So if you go to www.ingoodcleantaste.com, you will see all my recipes. There's a cherry cobbler in there, and there is an apple cranberry crisp, so a different version of this crisp. Now, normally, if you know me, you know that I tend to make things in large quantities because I figure if you're going to make it, go big, right? Like have extras, have leftovers. If it's something you can freeze, go for it because there's nothing worse than not having enough dessert. Am I right? Okay. And by the way, if you're going to make it, you might as well make some coconut whipped cream to go with it or buy some if you can buy some. But if you want to make some, there's also a recipe for that on my website. So, although I normally do things in big quantities, today for you, I am doing a smaller quantity. This is an 8 by 8 inch pan. So I have my little notes here in case I forget the smaller quantities, because like I said, I don't ever do small quantities. But today we're going to. Also, I'm a big believer in making do with what you have. So normally I would make the filling for this crisp with tapioca. You know, those little tapioca granules, because that makes it nice and kind of like jammy. But I didn't have tapioca, so today we're going to use arrowroot powder. But if you have tapioca, there's arrowroot powder. It's kind of like tapioca flour. But if you have tapioca flour, you can use, tapioca, you can use that. And you can look on my apple cranberry crisp for the details for the quantities on that. So, as you can see, I have prepped things because we're so fancy here at In Good Clean Taste. See my little logo? Pretty excited. Thank you for my beautiful friend who gave me this apron. So we're gonna start with, these are diced strawberries and sliced rhubarb. And I usually like to have, so for this size of a crisp, you wanna have about 3 cups of fruit total. And I usually like to have double the amount of strawberries as rhubarb. So in this case, I have about 2 cups of strawberries and 1 cup of rhubarb because strawberries are sweeter. So, and the rhubarb adds that nice tang, but you don't want too much tang. So I'm gonna put those into the big bowl. Get them all out of there. And yes, I did wash my hands, just so you know. Singing happy birthday twice. So make sure you wash your hands with soap for 30 seconds. So I have this. Now if you're gonna use tapioca flour, or excuse me, I keep saying that. If you're gonna use tapioca, you wanna let this sit for about 15 minutes. But since I'm using arrowroot powder, I don't need to. But I'm gonna put, let's see, I used a tablespoon of arrowroot powder and I just sprinkled that on top. And then this here is a combination of coconut oil and maple syrup. And I wanna say, yeah, it's, maple syrup and apple juice. And it's about 1/8 of a cup of each, so total 1/4 cup liquid. And I just use the apple juice, well, the maple syrup, of course, for sweetening, and the apple juice, just a little bit of sweet, and adds a little bit more liquid. And then, I don't know about you, but I love a little lemon zest and things. It just gives it a nice zestiness. Yay for lemons. Now, normally if I were making a full batch, I would use a whole lemon. So I'm gonna try to remember to use only half the lemon here. We're gonna zest it. Zesting's really fun. Make sure you just get the top layer of the zest because you don't wanna get the pith. You just want the zesty goodness on the very top of the lemon. This lemon has been washed. Make sure that you wash your lemons. Get organic if you can, but always wash with either soap and water or with some kind of veggie wash, whatever you have. Some people like to use like a vinegar wash. And then I'm gonna squeeze out that half. Since I'm using only a half, the other half is going to be used to go in my lemon water because I love me some lemon water. get it all out. Let's see, did I get everything in there? Oh no. So the best part is the nutmeg. Now I am a big fan of fresh nutmeg, and by fresh I mean you get the little nutmeggy nuts and you get a little grinder and you grind it. Now I've used several nutmeg grinders. I like this one because it just works better. I've had the ones that are little and kind of round and they take forever to get the nutmeg out. So it helps if you take off the cap. Just FYI, good tip right there, take off the cap. So a little bit of nutmeg there, grinding. And I'm probably using like 1/8 of a teaspoon, not a ton. And if you were doing plums or another kind of stone fruit like cherries, oh, nutmeg's so good with both of those. Also good with peaches. It makes good on everything, let's be real, but it's delicious with the stone fruits. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna do a little dash of cinnamon. So we're just gonna dash the cinnamon because cinnamon also good. And we're just gonna mix that up. Now again, if I were using tapioca, I'd let this sit for 15 minutes to get a little more gelatinous, but we're not. By the way, I'm not gonna be baking this for you live because I don't think you wanna sit here for 30 minutes and wait for it. But if you were, you probably would have wanted to preheat the oven to 375. So FYI, we're gonna pour that in here. I don't usually spoon things backwards, so this is fun. Get all those little goodies out. Get in there. There we go. Just smooth them out a little bit. So you have a nice smoothish top. Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna make the crisp topping, which in my opinion is the best. I don't know, is it the best part? The fruit's so good too, but the crisp is amazing, right? Now the difference between a crisp and a cobbler. So when I'm making a cobbler crust, like again, if you go onto my website and look at my cherry cobbler, I'd use almond flour. I wouldn't use any oats. I wouldn't use any nuts. So it's more of a cakey type of a topping, whereas this one's gonna be a little more crunchy and a little more nutty. Get my lemon out of the way. So I have a 1/2 cup of almond flour here and a 1/2 cup of gluten-free old-fashioned rolled oats. Put that in there. And then in here, let's see, what are my quantities in here? I have a 1/4 cup of coconut oil that's been melted and a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Put that in there. I have about a 1/4 teaspoon salt and 3/4 teaspoon cinnamon. And I'm gonna stir all that up. Until it gets nice and moistened, and then it'll kind of dry out a little bit as the coconut oil gets colder. Coconut oil is cold, it gets solid at room temperature, like 72, 73 degrees. It's somewhere in between that and here right now. So, and then this is about a 1/4 cup of chopped pecans. See little pecans that I chopped up, which gives it that nice crunch. Now, if you have a kid who doesn't like nuts in their stuff, like I have one that doesn't, I chop them real nice and fine. But if you want a bigger nut, then just don't chop them as fine. Or, you know, you can also buy them chopped. You don't have to chop them yourself. As you'll see, this is a super easy recipe. Look, we're basically done. All we have to do is put it in the oven. And how long has this been? Like 10 minutes-ish? So, then we're just gonna dollop it over the top. And this does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be, it's a rustic look, right? So you wanna leave some little openings. You don't wanna have it perfectly covered. Plus, depending on how much liquid is in here, like based on your lemon, or if you put in less coconut oil or less maple syrup, it might end up, like if it's really liquidy, it might end up merging together like my earlier one did. So it is what it is, right? It's au naturel. It's gonna be what it wants to be. And that's okay. Every crisp is unique. Okay, we're almost there. Yay for Crispies. And then you can just kind of move it around to get it more over stuff. Now, I usually will bake this. I'll bake it at 375, like I said, probably about 25 minutes so that it's nice and crisp on top. You'll know when it's done because the fruit will be bubbling and the crisp will be crisp. It'll be slightly browned. So I'm going to show you one that I made already, which is this lovely little baby. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it tastes amazing with coconut whipped cream or vanilla ice cream, obviously vegan preferred. I think we should try it just to make sure it's okay. What do you think? I think that's a good idea. So this is what it looks like on a plate. And now we're gonna see what it looks like when I eat it. Mmm. I'm gonna be like Giada and just take one bite of everything and just go, mmm. Except that it is really good. It's kind of amazing. I wish you were here to eat it with me. So if you have any questions, post them in the comments later. I will be posting this recipe soon. Probably on my website in this group. I don't know, I haven't decided. But if you want a similar version, like I said, there's the apple cranberry crisp on my website. And you can just swap out the fruits. And there's also a cherry cobbler if you feel like cobbler. So thank you so much for joining me. It was lovely seeing you all and sharing with you my strawberry rhubarb crisp.